Hello everyone and welcome to this project that I have procrastinated for over a month, but yeah, it turned out better than I expected. So yeah, I won't mind that. One of the things about recording a video at 2 a.m. in the morning is that even slight sound outside seem like good enough noise. So yeah, please don't mind that. And so with that, welcome to this video. And what is this? I've prepared like a rough outline. What, why, and how. This is what we'll cover in this video. So this is JavaScript for ML engineers. Now, first of all, let's cover what. So as the title suggests, this is a JavaScript for ML engineers course, or like a roadmap, whatever you want to call it. But it's sort of misleading because it says JavaScript for ML engineers. JavaScript is the same for both ML and non-ML engineers. But what this means is essentially that this course actually assumes that you are a machine learning engineer or aspire to be one or whatever, but in something in that direction, right? And the projects that are involved in this in this course are sort of machine learning based. Okay, so that's what I mean by that. But even if you're not a JavaScript engineer, sorry, not a machine learning engineer, this course should still be fine. Okay, the motivation. Well, first of all, like JavaScript is a vast language. This course or this tutorial series or whatever you call it is not going to make you a JavaScript developer, but this will sort of give you good enough knowledge to start making sense of some open source projects or actually building your own, right? So you can do anything with JavaScript these days, right? From mobile to desktop apps to websites, of course, and then everything. As machine learning engineers, you could like do some fancy stuff like quantization or pruning and stuff like that, and you can deploy your models in the browser. So some of the things that I'll show you, like for example, by the end of this process, you'll build two applications, which is a to-do app, which is like a React introduction to React application, which is necessary. But then you also build a style transfer, real-time style transfer application in the browser, which is like this application that I deployed on my website, which is, it's called log.xt. Just wanted to show that off. And so, for example, like say you choose a style image, or you choose and then you choose a sorry, the first one is content image and the second one is style image, and it basically applies the style of the style image to the content image based on the weight. So I can set my weight here, and it's pretty much in real time, right? So this is like just JavaScript. It's happening in the browser, not using my GPU, not using, it might use, but it's not actually it doesn't have a backend, right? So this is like one of those things that you can do, but people have built a lot of different cool things with JavaScript and machine learning, and did some like fantastic on-device stuff. So that's the kind of things that you could build. So this is what it is: JavaScript for ML engineers. By the end of this, you should be able to like work with light models on device transfer, or whatever, right? So yeah, we are through with what, and I'll just mark that off. See my management skills. Yeah, great. Okay, now why? I actually covered a little bit of this in the what section, but I'll just do that in detail here. So why learn JavaScript if you're a machine learning engineer? So at this point, if you have done machine learning for quite a while, it's a very broad field, just like JavaScript. It's very broad, and so at some point you might have thought, okay, I've built something cool here. I know how to train models. I know how to deploy models, maybe on the back end, or on some clusters, whatever. And I also know how to train them. It'd be fun if I could build a cool little application as a demo on, say, a smartphone or just a website, whatever. And that's where JavaScript comes in pretty much. You can deploy light models. You might have heard of like TensorFlow Lite or PyTorch Mobile or all of that, right? So you could build models that you can deploy on smartphones, like on-device learning, right? And then you can also build websites that just like static websites, deploy them on GitHub pages, on Firebase, on whatever, and you can deploy your applications. It's always fun to be able to build something cool and something that you would like to use yourself. And so that is where all of this comes in, right? I'll show you some other examples. I just showed you this that we'll build by the end of this course. And then there's like another one that I found online. So here it's just animating the latent space of the deep convolution GAN, and it has like larger models, but it'll take more time. But yeah, I could just pretty much play around with that in your own browser, in browser machine learning. And then there's this application by it's one of the, by far the coolest one that I know of, like in browser machine learning. But this is a lo-fi player by Magenta Labs at Google. They built a lot of cool stuff, and by the way, we'll be using their model to build this. But yeah, let me just show you this. So you start this, and it gives you some lo-fi beats, and then you can, every object here is interactive. Like I can turn this into daytime, and then I can use this, say, bass as a say a prompt to the model that is producing these endless beats. So you can just go here and turn bass on or off, the tone or whatever. And then here's another instrument here. I can choose like what type of instrument that I want, and here's like the model that you'll use, or like, and the mode, like you can go from chill or maybe dense to chill or whatever, all of that, right? So it's pretty unique, and it's pretty cool, and it's something that is happening inside your browser. And so yeah, these are the kind of applications that you can build out of you know, knowledge of a little bit of web development, a little bit of JavaScript, and a little bit of machine learning. I mean, not a little bit, but yeah, you get the idea. There's always like a place where you have to start. So this is the motivation behind this. Like, web is not going anywhere. Web will always remain, and so a little bit of web development knowledge is not going to hurt. And of course, after this, you won't be like an expert at building websites, but at least you'll understand what's happening, and you'll have a rough idea. So how about that? How about that as a pitch for this course? And I mean, I'd still like to talk about, because this is something that I've put in, I won't say I've put in my heart and soul, I just put in my heart, not my soul, but still, this is something that I've thought about for a while, because there's a lot of courses that you just start and then cannot finish because of the course structure and how it's structured. So I have built this in a way to trick your mind to finish it, and I'll just talk about that in the next section, which is how. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people with like entirely different domain of expertise, like people studying biology and being great web developers. And so what I'm trying to say is that you don't even have to have a technical background to learn this, because this course essentially introduces you to HTML and CSS as well, right? So yeah, it's just that it's assumed that you know a little bit and you move much faster, but even if you don't, it's fine. It's pretty much what it is. Now, with that, coming to how it's intended to be read through or taken. Okay, so the content, let me just condense it a little bit. Here you will see it's a lot, and don't let that scare you. Okay. Oh, you see what I did there? I just added a bonus section which is coming soon, and it's like empty. Such a good marketing move. Okay. Wow, I need to just condense that. Okay, I'll just keep talking. All right, so I need to cut that out. Okay. So yeah, you'll start with HTML and CSS refresher, and then you'll get some JavaScript basics. Now the content in here is pretty much, most of them are linked to like good quality tutorials, because I don't like to invent the wheels. A lot of experienced people have built better tutorials that I could have built, but in some places it's been distilled, or it's been like I have combined multiple sources. For example, functions in depth is like, again, a directed tutorial, a list of tutorials, but then it contains like different types of tutorials, like where you find more detailed stuff, where you'll find just enough to get you through this course, and things like that. And then so for example, I wanted to have this section which is let versus var. A lot of people get confused, and even I get confused sometimes. So I have written this like from Stack Overflow, but changed some of the things so that, you know, they are in the right order. So you'll find a mixture of both of these, right? You will find some of them like some external links, and then some of them are custom written tutorials for you. And then the idea here is to get you started in building projects as soon as you go, because again, I said in the previous section that it is designed to trick you into learning and into finishing. Now the thing is, you'll find that in no time you reach this project, which is building React application in I mean, of course, in JavaScript. But when you do build this app, that is where most of your learning will happen, right? So essentially you're building an application, but you're excited about building your application, and you won't realize that you're actually putting in more effort than the entire like previous sections to learn stuff, and you'll learn as you go. And that is a way of sort of how I like to think of this as an incentive to complete your course. And so I have seen that even with me it happens, like I start a course and then halfway through it I know what to expect, and then I sort of fell off and I don't complete them. In here, once you reach the project 1 is essentially say 70-75% of the course. It's pretty much where most of the learning will happen. And once you do this, you might expect the project 2 might be like a harder project, more difficult one, but it's actually the most simple thing that you'll ever build. It's like simply one single page React application, and it won't take you more than an hour to get through. So essentially it's a treat, and it will also cover the entire concept that you've learned up until now. So right, so essentially project 2 is just more JavaScript and a very short project. So you'll see most of the learning is happening here, and section 5 is essentially more JavaScript, which means you'll learn other stuff, which is asynchronous programming, how to interact with public APIs, such as scraping data from any. I mean, that's a bad example, but yeah, building applications using. You might have seen, like, if you order food on Uber or something. I mean, you don't order food on Uber in all countries, but in some. You see, like, what I'm trying to say is, you see there's a Google Maps, and what is that? They're using their public API, or maybe them some deals and stuff. Like, there are other things that you can, like, you can use Twitter API to get data about public accounts. You can use GitHub API, things like that. So all of that you will learn here, which is like more of extra front-end stuff, and then you'll build the final application. So this is like what the how of the course. And self-paced, you can do it whenever you want. And I mean, I have written here that approx 2 hours a week should be enough to complete it in 6 weeks, but that is assuming that you have life outside of this, right? And if you don't have it, and there's no need to pretend, you could like do it in a week. Who am I kidding, right? So yeah, that's the how. And now, which brings me to, there should be more section here which should say like what's next, but I haven't written it here, so I'll just talk about it. Okay, what's next is this should be like a 3-video series, is how I envision it right now. I changed plans, but right now, by the time it's being recorded, there'll be another video that will cover all of these material in short, like in condensed, which basically means like if you're someone who has lost touch with JavaScript like over 4 or 5 years, JavaScript has changed a lot. It has few improvements, so you should definitely go through this. But if you still want to, okay, if you're like, I just want to build my project, which is project 2, I should, what should I do? Then you can just watch that. It will be overview of everything that is being covered, and then you can just I'll make another video which will be the final and the third video where we'll go through building this project, like the second project, from scratch, from the boilerplate. Now, which brings me to the final thing, which is how do I get this, like this material here? So linked below is this repository that contains project 1, project 2, and the course. Inside the course, you will see this HTML file. I have not changed the name for this because it would have not improved the course in any way whatsoever. So pardon my lazy ass for that. And if you open this file, you'll get this website. It's like an HTML. It's been exported from Notion. It was an internal company project, but I try to make it an open source thing. So yeah, and in the project 1 and project 2, you'll get the finished and the boilerplate of both the projects. So, and all of the things that I'm talking about, all the sections will be explained like in their respective sections themselves. Like if you see why study objects, you'll see like there's a need for that and all of that. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, at this point I should have an outro for my thing, but I don't have it. So I'll just say I'll see you guys in the next one.